B1 brothers and sisters, welcome to Blacklogic. And today we'll be talking about a lot of disrespect coming out the immigrant class of people that are coming into our country illegally. Because here's the narrative, here's the perspective that those folks paint against us. Illegal immigrants are often seen as hard workers who will make better citizens than Black Americans. But if you take a really close look at the facts, and we're going to cover some of these countries here, family: Guatemala, Nicaragua, Belize, Honduras, El Salvador, Panama, Mexico, Costa Rica, Colombia, Brazil, Chile, Argentina. They're always somehow portrayed as having harder working citizens than Black Americans when they come to our country, and they come reverberating white supremacist narratives and perspectives. But when we look at the state of their countries, listen, when we look at the state of their countries, we see crumbling infrastructures, high unemployment rates, more so than America, homelessness, more so than America, starvation, more so than America. Where's the evidence of their supposed hard work? In every single country, with people, not all, with people that come to this country and disrespect foundational Black Americans, this is for you. When we look at the state that you guys come from, when the colonizers left your countries in shambles, when the colonizers ensured that your countries would be unstable, you come to the country that foundational Black American ancestors built. And now very few leaders during the civil rights movement got together and passed legislation for immigration, for people to come over and to support the oppression that we were going through, not knowing, not understanding that because of the colonization and having the opportunity to come to one of the sweetest lands in all of the world, you come over here as white supremacists in sheep clothing. That's what you do. It is disrespectful for illegal immigrants to come to America and act as if they are better than foundational Black Americans. That's what we're talking about here. This is just not an opinion, but a fact based by laws and legislation that have been put into place to support the assertion that Black Americans are being disrespected. As our brothers and sisters in Colorado, ask our brothers and sisters in Chicago, ask the B1 fam in New York, ask those Black Americans. Ask those Black Americans. That's what I want to know, family. Because when I look at some of these countries, and I've been to a lot of these countries, and here's one thing that the white supremacists in this country understand. This is why we're having a lot of erasure of our history. And this is why it's important that we teach our own kids our history. But at the same time, I thought about it for quite some time. I'm like, well, we shouldn't really have to worry about them teaching our kids what they should already know. But see, when foreigners come to this country, when immigrants come to this country, when illegal immigrants come to this country, they read our books. They go to our schools. They go and utilize our facilities. And if Black people are not in those books, they're going to believe that the white people of the land built this country. They're going to believe that the red people of this land built this country. And everybody knows we built the very foundation. And the reason why we take credit of that today, family, the way that we hold that weight on our soldiers of what our people have done throughout the course and the exception and the independence of this country. That is what people are not understanding. Well, you wasn't in slavery. You wasn't back there when they was building this. This, as well as anyone takes the credit of their father and their mother of the achievements. And we're still creating, we're still innovating, and we're still building throughout all the things that been done to us, family. Instead of getting to all the very minute micro examples, let's just say this. You bombed our towns, our Black Wall Streets, which was a source of wealth, ownership, and generational wealth that can have been passed down. That's one. Then two, you double down, and then anytime you wanted a highway or a road, or you wanted a lake or a pond, you flooded Black towns. You destroyed Black cities. You divided Black families. So yeah, we're coming for the check. This is about reparations too. And the disrespect that other countries give us, as if these countries are better than what our forefathers built 200 years ago. Argentina, Chile, these are some of the ghettos and slums, but I want you to compare our so-called ghettos and our so-called slums. Let's look at it. Peru, they living in dirt mountains with no vegetation. And listen, family, I'm not trying to be divisive. I'm just explaining and describing the picture as I see it. That's what I'm doing. Mexico, we're all familiar with Mexico. There's very, very beautiful parts of Mexico. Okay. And I want to make sure people understand this is not to be divisive about the country or the people. This is about illegal immigrations and reparations. Illegal immigration and reparation. And not against people who are truly refugees and truly asylum seekers. I digress. Mexico, Colombia. I've been to Colombia. I've been to Mexico. DR. I've been there. And of course, a lot of you who've been to these countries, a lot of you like me who've been to these countries, the Bahamas, all these, Cuba, Colombia, Costa Rica. Yeah, I've been there. I've been there. And the reason why you may not agree with me tonight is because every time you go to Jamaica, every time you go to Aruba, every time you stay in the tourist area, you stay on your resort, you stay in your Airbnb and the surrounding, you don't go traveling through the country. They keep you in that tourist part where you do the zip lining and the whitewater raft and all the fun stuff. You're like, oh man, this out here is great, it's beautiful. But let you try to look for some property in some of these countries. Let you try to look for some of these properties. These ghettos are worse than America's. Okay? This is about the disrespect that illegal immigrants have for foundational Black Americans. And every other, and when I mean illegal immigrant family, listen, a lot of these countries are from Central America, but we can't leave out the anti-Black African immigrants. We cannot leave them out. Neither those are the Caribbean, okay? And of course, these countries is South America, Central America, okay? Guatemala. Yeah, family, they're living in sheet metal. That's all I'm getting at. Because we push for housing rights, fair and equal housing rights, housing standards. Why do you think all these rules and regulations? They don't have rules and regulations in their country to state what a house, an apartment, or a shelter is. Basically, they have a bunch of tent cities. That's what that's about. They have a bunch of tent cities. And listen, I'm only speaking to those disrespectful, illegal immigrants that come over from these countries. Okay, they come over from these countries, and the only thing is they have is anti-Black sentiment towards foundational Black Americans. And not even understanding what our people have done, but understanding what we have done and what we are doing. I always like to point out Moses West, because he's been the one so far, family, with the most mind-blowing, earth-shattering invention. And we're talking about that water atmospheric gatherer. You guys remember that? I don't have it popped up, but I know you guys remember Moses West, right? Because people say, well, what have Black Americans invented in the modern day? I mean, we can go back 100 inventions, family, or the innovations that our people have done. And yeah, we live on the shoulders of our present day heroes, our past day heroes, our inventors, our scientists, our researchers, okay? We stand on the backs of them. Everybody can't be great, right? But we can celebrate that greatness, can we not? Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Moses West here. This is his Instagram channel, and he is the guy who created the water atmospheric gatherer, that green machine. And what that green machine does, family, it captures the moisture in the air, converts it, transform it, okay, metamorphosize it, whatever, teleports it, I don't know, and make it potable drinking water. So free water. Literally, if you go to his website, okay, if you go to his website, look what his website say, water is free. That's a Black man. That's a foundational Black American. That's a foundational Black American. So when people want to know the great things we're doing and we're still doing, there you are. There it is. There it is. There it goes right there. So let's address the elephant in the room. Because myth that the illegal immigrants somehow more deserving of opportunities and respect in this country than those of us who have been here for generations, fighting tooth and nail, not just for our rights. Oh no. Not just for our rights, but for everyone who comes to this country rights. No respect. And granted, you will have people from the Latin community, from the Caribbean community, from the African community stand up and reinforce the white supremacist narrative that some of their coons are coming over here portraying and acting in. You'll have some riders for us. You'll have some people on code for us. And we are on code with you. But the so-called perspective and narrative that somehow there are more deserving of opportunities and respect in this country than those of us who've been here for generations. Nah, dog. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. Because if you unpack the notion that illegal immigrants are somehow harder workers than us, than foundational Black Americans, see, we're told they come here to do the jobs we won't do. Ain't nobody going out there on the fields picking fruit. Ain't no Black man gonna do that. I hear it in almost every social media platform, almost everyone. Ain't no Black people gonna go out there and pick fruit. That's one of the things we use, isn't that? They tell us they are doing the jobs that we don't want to do here, that they contribute more to society, and then they'll be the model citizens. But again, and this is not to be divisive, okay? This is not to be divisive. I don't want to know if I have to put up my trigger warning today, family. Do I need to do that? Why not? But I'll come back right after this. We're told they come here and do the jobs we won't do. That is what they tell us, is it not? That they are doing the jobs that we won't do. But see, let's take a look at Guatemala, Nicaragua, Belize, Honduras, all the countries I named. These nations are ravaged by corruption and violence and poverty, and hardly are shining examples of productivity and prosperity. See, this is something that you can, I don't know if we can brag, because I don't think we are in a position of bragging, but it kind of makes me think about we're the richest Black people in the world. Yeah. I know we have a lot of Black people down on their luck, living in low income housing, but compared to the world, we are the richest Black tribe. The foundational Black American tribe is the richest Black tribe out of any group. Collaboratively, when you factor in the percentages of people, okay, not government, just the people, and how much each and one of us are truly worth. Our GDP together, and I hate using this term, but for this particular moment as an example, our GDP is anywhere from like 1.2, 1.4 spending power. And of course, that spending power has to do your acceptance or your approval of credit. So that's debt. But nonetheless, this is a point I wanted to make there. And when we look at their infrastructure that's crumbling, unemployment rates are sky high, homeless is rampant, and people, they're not even eating in the streets, family. And despite these harsh realities, illegal immigrants had the audacity to come here and disrespect us, the very people who ancestors built the country through blood, sweat, and tears. They flaunt their work ethic while conveniently ignoring the fact that they're fleeing countries that have been systematically exploited and disabled by colonialism and imperialism. And you won't turn your nose up at them, but you'll turn your nose up at us. That's white supremacy. You don't even know that you have a colonized mind. You don't even know that you have been manipulated, tricked, transformed, brainwashed in believing that if you can be white, or you can label yourself as white, or you can be close to white, or if you carry a white supremacist ideology, then they'll take care of you as well, like they do their own. But listen, the hate jumps, family. Once they hate on us and they have us in a position, now you'll start to see they're coming for you. But here's where it gets a little more infuriating, right? Because our government, the U.S. government, family, the U.S. government, instead of addressing the root causes of immigration, they have chosen to vilify. They have chosen to vilify and scapegoat us, being foundational Black Americans, as though they're rolling out the red carpet for illegal immigrants. See, they pass laws and legislations that prioritize the interests of foreigners over the needs of their own citizens, and all the while ignoring the centuries of oppression and injustice we endured. And see, each and every day, family, we have to reclaim our power. This, when people say, well, Black culture is American culture, that's true. But did you ever thought that American culture was Black majority? You ever gave that a thought? Black culture is American culture, but isn't America's culture mainly Black? Because when you talk about the building of something, foundational Black Americans built the country. Foundational Black Americans built the country. Foundational Black Americans invented the soybean and plastic and the mobile refrigerator truck and the gas mask and the third improvised of the stoplight. And the list goes on, and procedures for cataracts with Patricia Bath and Mark Dean, and making the gigahertz chip and the color monitor. The list goes on and on and on of all the things that we take credit for as a family, that we take credit for as a people, have invented. And I'm just still here looking at Moses West. I'm still looking at Moses West. And that's the hearts of Black folk. You ever thought about that? We are some of the most kind, loving, caring, right? We can't see somebody else we know, and we know that they're hungry and we have food to eat. We know that if we don't give you this $2, man, I might miss lunch, but you need to go to work. And if you don't, you get fired. Like, we're some of the most kind-hearted people. And the only reason why I'm getting this from is when I look at Moses West thing here, family, it says water is free. That doesn't sound like a black person. Water is free. I'm waiting for a black person, if cold fusion is a thing, if cold fusion is a thing and electricity will be free, I'm really thinking a black person is going to come up with it. But just like when they were, I forgot who the guy name was, but he built a car that could run off of tap water. And it came out one news cycle, right? Then the next thing you know, you never heard from him again. I'm not saying anything happened to him, family. I'm just saying, you know, you don't see him around anymore. All he's talking about, he probably gave him $1 billion, say, hey, go be quiet. And he probably did. And then I look at Moses West. When he had his machines out in Flint, Michigan, did you guys know that somebody tried to tamper with that? Somebody tried to tamper with that. And he said they knew exactly what they were doing. But let's bring this home. Let's bring this home. This is from Chicago. You guys might have seen this clip before, but I'm just trying to bring context to this, family. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to bring context to this. So bear with me here. Hopefully you guys can see that okay.
Time so heated, police had to step in. We're talking about city council today and a vote to spend $51 million on helping migrants here in Chicago. CBS 2 political investigator Dana Cashapp was there for all the action, and Dana, strong feelings all around.
Yeah, Erica, and for many different reasons, among them the fact that this $51 million approved today is only a short-term fix, and more money will be needed in just weeks.
We cannot continue to falsely pit communities against one another.
Deep emotional wounds coming to the surface.
As Black people who have been hurt continuously by the city and country it loves, it ain't our responsibility to take care of everybody else.
And anger.
We don't want to have to recall anybody. We don't want to have to protest anybody, but we are not going to be ignored, Brandon. Mayor Johnson.
Many in Chicago's Black community and the city council speaking out against spending $51 million to house migrants, asking when will the help for them finally become a reality.
And it cannot be put on the backs of the residents of Chicago without showing them that they're getting something out of this.
Mayor Brandon Johnson, presiding over his second full city council meeting, had to ask for calm more than once.
Will the Sergeant of Arms please restore some order?
Police also intervening at one point to allow the meeting to proceed. Ultimately, the measure passed with 34 votes. Many who voted to approve the money, like 49th Ward Alderwoman Maria Hadden, call this an immediate crisis that needs attention. But, she says, so do concerns of the city's Black residents.
Why are Black people in Chicago and some communities so angry? Why is all this kind of anti-immigrant sentiment coming up? And I want to explain to.
I couldn't let her talk. If you guys were listening, prior to letting her talk, she was one of the ones who approved of the migrants getting $51 million. So don't let her fool you as though these politicians, not all, a lot of these politicians, they flip-flopping, they double speak a lot. They speak out the side of the next, family. And you really have to catch what they're saying. Let me back it up just a little bit. Because she's one of the alderpersons who voted on this. And she passed it. She approved it. She gave a green mark. Okay? She's on there.
The measure passed with 34 votes. Many who voted to approve the money, like 49th Ward Alderwoman Maria Hadden, call this an immediate crisis.
Like they said, she approved it. Okay?
Crisis that needs attention. But, she says, so do concerns of the city's Black residents.
Why are Black people in Chicago and some communities so angry? Why is all this kind of anti-immigrant sentiment coming up? And I want to explain to folks, it's because if we cared as much about Black people and had over the decades as we do about everyone else, we wouldn't be here.
But the money from a 2021 budget surplus will only last one.
I can't do it. I can't do it, fam, because listen, you just approved a bill for illegal immigrants to stay in hotels, housing, whatever, and give them stipends of money at $51 million. Then you come and tell the people why some of the black people are upset because they've been deprived for so long. If she was truly on code, family, she would have voted no. She would have voted no if she was truly on code. See, that is when you know someone is compromised. You know when somebody's a turncoat. You know when somebody is a traitor. You know when somebody's playing both sides. She's trying to support black people verbally while she's signing legislation physically to give illegal immigrants $51 million. No. You ain't gonna trick us no more. Yeah. We can't be tricked no more, family. We can't be tricked no more. I'm tired of it, right? Right? I mean, a lot of us in the black media, new black media, whether you have your goats like Tariq Nasheed and Jason Black and Professor Black Truth, your goats, right? Who's been telling people this for a very long time. Who's been telling people this for a very long time. We must not give up. And we're going to have a lot of naysayers. We're going to have a lot of coons, Sambos, a lot of shields. We're going to have a lot of ops. We're going to have spies. We're going to have recon. We're going to have everybody trying to infiltrate reparations. And especially illegal immigrants. But even though illegal immigrants, they're already getting reparations. Are they not? Are they not, family? Illegal immigrants are already receiving, they're already receiving reparations. And see, here's the thing. They will state that they're hard workers and we're lazy and this, that, and the other. This is how America justify its deep-seated racism, its bias, its discrimination, and oppression of our people by stating we are a drain on society. Black people are a drain on society. So we're coming in, white people are talking about replacement theory. No, you're good, you're in power. Let us talk about us. This is a replacement theory for Black Americans to replace us with the colonized immigrants who come over here and sambo and dance and cut a jig for the white power structure in this country. And I want to point this out. I'm not, again, being divisive. I'm drawing a clear-cut line in the sand. This is not about the people who come over here that are illegal. It's it is, well, let me back up. It's the disrespect that they portray, not all of them. And because America has done so much to allow illegal immigration at the detriment of Black Americans, and they know this. And they know this. I think that's what the most disrespecting part, not just about the illegal aliens, but with the American government. Because America like to tout its chest of illegal immigrants being hard workers, yet conveniently the fact that many of them exploit, some of them at least, are exploited and underpaid. So are they killing two birds with one stone? I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, family. I have no idea if they're killing two birds, one stone. And if we talk about legislation, from discriminatory war on drugs that disproportionately targeted our communities to mass incarceration, you know, that was one of the largest epidemic that ravaged Black families. That's why a lot of the Black men are not in the home, especially in that late baby boomer, early generation, Generation X. Those guys, a lot of them are our fathers. About mass incarceration, it was an epidemic that destroyed the Black community. Because even through the bombings, even through the hangings, even through the killings, we still had our men. They became laser focused. They said, well, we try to turn Big Mama against them in slavery and have them to buck them, but they somehow reestablished in themselves and put the nuclear family back in order. And now they're becoming prosperous. Now they're becoming wealthy. Now they're becoming riches. Well, let's bomb some of their cities. Let's bomb some of their towns. Red Summer of 1919. Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921. Oh, that didn't work? Let's do multiple massacres. That didn't work? Let's flood their towns. Let's flood that city. Because last time fire didn't work, bombs didn't work. Think about that, family. You took the warrior class, you took the fighters, you took the masculinity out of the Black community by the way of mass incarceration. Wait a minute. Something significant about mass incarceration. I feel like there was a senator from Delaware. I think his name is Joe Biden. He was the senator for Delaware when he wrote up the mass incarceration by way of the 1994 crime bill. Oh, I knew mass incarceration meant a lot for Black folk. This is why reparations is so damn important. And this is why they don't want to give it to us. We understand that the evidence is clear, family, that America has systematically oppressed and marginalized Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, not for decades, but for generations. Generations. So the next time you hear someone spouting off about illegal immigrants are somehow more deserving than foundational Black Americans, remember, it's all part of America's very twisted narrative to maintain white supremacy. Are we understanding that, family? This is how they maintain white supremacy. This is how they maintain white supremacy regardless of their numbers, because they need buffers. They need henchmen. They need straw men. They need middlemen. They need gunmen. They need people who drive. Men. They need these people to continue to stay in power. They said declining birth rate. That's okay. I got a solution. Let's get some white identifying illegal immigrants over here so we can further convert them, and simultaneously, by not paying Black Americans reparations, which they are owed, not begging for, not crying about, not begging for, not crying about, but is owed. Let's plus the numbers up of people who will be anti-Black, who will be anti-Black American, because if we bring African immigrants over here, we don't really have to worry about reparations, and we get some African immigrants over here, but that believe the global racist narrative that Black Americans are lazy, even better. Oh, even better. And some of them, you know, they want to come over here because they want to be the oppressor. They want to be part of the oppression, right? And all the while not understanding that they just got their independence in the 60s. And they've been oppressed for hundreds of years as well. And now that they have their own nations, and I'm not speaking about all, They have their own nations. They are still allowing colonizers, economic colonizers, to come in and ruin and run their countries. And the one thing that somebody's gonna say is the government. We got it. We got it. Foundation of Black Americans, we got it. Don't we? It's the government. Every time something has failed in your country, it's the government. I got it. I understand. It's the government. You can't do nothing because the government is so large and powerful. The government. Every time. And get me wrong, family. I've been to African countries, Caribbean countries, South American countries. I've been there. I can name them, family. I show you the vacation trip. Look on Blacklogic. Every time I go somewhere, I do a vacation video. Okay? And I don't really display none of the negative stuff because I'm over there to enjoy the culture, to learn the people. But let me tell you, every time you have a serious conversation with someone and you say, well, why is this and why is that? The government. So the government in all these countries are more corrupt than America. You know why? Even with all the corruption in America, we can still build a country that 99% of the world wants to come to. That 1% is more like Saudi Arabia because they have control and power and operate all of that. They ain't coming to America. Yeah, a couple of countries out there like Russia, they ain't coming, you know. And by the way, Vladimir Putin just won his re-election, so we're going to hear a lot more about that. It don't matter if Joe Biden or Donald Trump wins the presidency. We're going to hear more about President Putin. I promise you that. I promise you that, family. Man, oh man, it's really time to wake up. And the truth may be uncomfortable, even for those who may see this, who are illegal immigrants. Again, the only issue that Americans have is that you're in the country illegally. Not you as a person, not you as a problem, not you as the things you're going through. And because of that, the many things that this government is doing to reinforce that illegal immigration is okay. This come to America. Just the other month, family, we had 24,000 Chinese people come inside the southern border through Mexico. What? How did 24,000 Chinese people go through Mexico and come into America illegally? What? We have people from all over the world flying to Mexico. Mexico is listen. Mexico is living it up. Mexico is living it up. They having all sorts of people fly into their port. So they're getting money, taxes, whatever the fees. They loving it. They ain't even stopping it. Like 24,000. Yeah, come through Mexico. Matter of fact, you take Juarez Road. Yeah, 10 miles straight. You hit the border. Juarez Road. Yep. There you go. Yeah, keep going. Are you walking? Hey, give them a cold water. Just keep on straight. There's a lot of people benefiting from illegal immigration. Guess who else is benefiting from illegal immigration? Border, ranch, and farm owners. That's who's benefiting from illegal immigration. You got some cattle, some goats. You got a cornfield, an orange field, right? All those southern states. Those people who live on the border with ranches and farms. Why do ICE go and catch the illegal immigrants, but don't lock up the person who hired the illegal immigrants? They're like, hey, John, did you know that you have 150 illegal immigrants out here picking fruit? They are? Yeah, it looks like an operation. It's not like they're selling it, John. I had no idea. What, they were illegals? Because I know you didn't give them job applications. They don't have American IDs. So which one was it? Oh, I didn't see him out there. I mean, they were just probably doing me a favor. All right, John, we're going to let you off on a warning. They don't even get warnings, family. They go right to the illegal immigrants and try to catch them. See, this is not just, it's not just disrespectful, undermining, sabotage. Again, this is designed. I think I recall in my last broadcast of the 330,000 illegal immigrants that America was flying over here under the Biden administration. Under the Biden administration, they just flying them over here. Come on. They was flying them over here with some program. Let's get back into business, guys. Damn. This is crazy. All right, here we go. Listen to this.
And I bet a lot of immigrants laugh at a lot of Black Americans.
A few months ago on this app, I watched a video and the creator made this statement. She said, the African immigrant to white supremacist pipeline is real. And when she said it, I said, oh my God, how dare you? I thought, how dare you suggest that African immigrants hold white supremacist ideologies? But then I just paused, I watched the rest of her video, and I thought for a minute. I thought about some of the narratives that I, as an African immigrant, hear in our community. I thought about some of the anti-Black rhetoric that is so common in our community. And I had to admit that she was correct. And if you look in the comments of that video, the proof is there also. Many African immigrants think that they are better than Black Americans. And we come from our home countries already with this false narrative, with this negative stereotype that Black Americans as a group are lazy, they are on government handouts, they're not taking advantage of the opportunities that America has. We come with these narratives and we come here and we don't bother to challenge them, because if you just sit for a minute and think about some of these comparisons that are being made, you'll see that they are stupid, right? They don't make sense. They are not equal comparisons. We don't bother to learn the history of systemic racism in this country. We dig in our heels instead and try to prove that, you know, we're the good Black people. Oh, look at us. We're so educated. We have all these good jobs. And it's frankly embarrassing. If you go to the comments of that video, you will see.
Now, that's just who was speaking the truth. That's what you call speaking hot fire. And finally, we're having a lot more of African immigrants, Asian immigrants coming out and saying certain things. But again, there's still a lot of people who are anti. Listen to this. Now, she's not anti, but listen to the message.
Any benefits that we have that anybody else can get is because Black Americans put their foot out and they drew a line in the sand.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I think that, okay, yeah, there's some trauma there, but chill out. If you're so mad about it, go. Just leave.
Damn.
You know I'm just saying, but like, if you're that mad about it, leave.
But isn't that what they say about us and racism?
Yeah. But see, this is the difference. We didn't come here. We were brought here. There's a difference when you make a concerted decision to leave your house, wherever it may be, and then come here. That's the difference. So anybody trying to make a comparison, I'm going to call you stupid for one, because they're not the same. We have to compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. It's just not the same.
I think she had a really good point. I really think she had a good point initially. And don't forget, sis, a lot of us were already here prior to some of us coming over in slave ships, okay? Now, this clip became very, very viral because this person here, this person here, family, was the illegal immigrant that was in this judicial place about illegal immigration. And he was saying, no money for you, no money for you, no money for you. You're lazy, you're lazy. And this clip, you know, everybody mixed and mastered, but this clip became very, very popular because the way his strong, you know, Mexican accent, you can tell that he was fresh in the country. He knows English, but you can tell he's fresh in the country in that he's standing up or in this protest. And don't forget, a lot of them are still showing these signs of protest saying undocumented and unafraid. Like, wow, the balls on some illegal immigrants, like the cojones, right? Undocumented and unafraid in somebody else's country. That's just mind blowing to me. It's like I come through your front door, like, yeah, unlock and still in your house, something like that, right? But nonetheless, and then not think nothing's going to happen, and nothing will happen. By design, is it not? Just pay what you owe. Do everything y'all trying to do, but pay what you owe. Listen in.
No more money for you. Bye bye, bye bye, bye bye. No more money for you. It's lazy, you lazy. You lazy. No more money for you.
So you heard what he was saying. He was saying, you lazy, you lazy. Where do you think he's getting that from? Where do you think he's getting that from? He's not getting that from other illegal immigrants. He's getting it from the immigrants that are already here, one, okay, from maybe from his community or other communities. Where are they getting it from? They're getting it from the white supremacists in this country. They spout these racial tropes and negative stereotypes when it's pertaining to foundational Black Americans. And here's something I wanted to bring to you guys' attention. I wanted to bring this to you guys' attention. Family, look at this. Now, this is from the ATF. Let me blow this up. It's from the ATF. An alien legally in the U.S. is not, okay, they're legally in the U.S. They're not prohibited from purchasing firearms unless the alien is admitted into the U.S. under a non-immigrant visa and does not meet one of the expectations as provided in this U.S. code, such as possession of valid hunting license or permit. And I heard one of our sisters today talk, Denise Long. Go support her on her channel, Denise Long. Pamela Denise Long. Let me get that right. Pamela Denise Long. Very intelligent sister. I've had her on Blacklogic a couple of times. She's very intelligent. A lot of good information. Now, for immigrants, gun rights debate goes beyond firearms. Okay, that's just the title, but there's one thing I wanted to point out in this. It states here, New York State Rifle and Pistol Association, brewing expanding gun rights. Singh Lesman argued that the Second Amendment allows undocumented people like him to possess weapons in self-defense. Family, this is absolutely ridiculous. What is the benefit of being a citizen in America? What is the benefit of being a citizen in America if I can come through illegally and be on the best welfare in the entire universe? We're talking about luxury apartments, $2,000 stipends. You qualify for SSI, EBT, CHIP. So listen. Oh my God, the benefits are just mind-boggling. Think about it. You come in as a legal immigrant, and they're going to give you a luxury apartment that you don't have to pay for 2 years. Then they're going to give you $2,000 a month. Now, if you're a family, everybody gets $2,000. So your luxury apartment is paid for. You're getting a stipend. They're going to give you work permits. So now you can work with the $2,000 stipend you're getting every month. And not only will give you work authorization, they're going to make sure you can get a driver's license. Then with your driver's license, you know that you can already vote, because even with voter ID laws, they got a driver's license, right? They got a driver's license, right? So they can vote. So now they can vote. They have already becoming police officers, okay? And now it's a possibility that they can bear arms. So basically every right that you have as an American, good luck. Just come through illegally and live off the taxpayers that's here. Live off the monetary sovereign fiat money that we have. Live off the debit credit, I owe you, you owe me system. Some of y'all will get that. I know you will. Then I went a little bit deeper, right? And I had this up just for reference. I went to the U.S. Code. I had to go to the U.S. Code, family. Sometimes I just got to do my research. Bear with. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit more. That's too big. And I'm not going to read all of this. Okay, I highlighted so you guys can read it. I'm just going to reference one part here. It shall be unlawful for any person who is illegally or unlawfully in the United States, or, don't you hate or? I hate ors, buts, and accepts. That was just funny. I hate ors, accepts, and buts, or buts, accepts, and ors. I hate them when we're talking about legislations and laws, because that's when the verbiage start getting a little tricky. It says or except. You got or and except, so you know it's already jacked up. Or except, expect as provided in subsection blah 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 has been admitted to the United States under a non-immigrant visa. A non-immigrant visa. I was just thinking, like, what's a non-immigrant visa? They're not an immigrant? Are they a citizen? A non-immigrant visa? If you're not an immigrant to the country, there's only certain classifications, right? A citizen, a resident, a permanent resident, etc. So then if you're a permanent resident or you're a citizen, can't you bear arms? You see all the loopholes? And this is the U.S. code for this, family. Except, okay, and then you say the immigration law. So, okay, I referenced that. I stayed within the U.S. Code. And I came over here, and I think I only had this part. I looked up because they were doing all this trick language. They stopped saying, they said a couple of times illegal immigrant, but they were like, now they changed to refugee when you look up the reference points in that previous title. And it says here that the term refugee means any person who's outside any country of such person nationality. On the case of a person having no nationality is outside any country, right? And it goes on and on and on. Okay. And I think I had one more part down here I highlighted. I thought I did. But it was a lot of trick language in this. And I was really trying to comb through a lot of the things that they put in here. Yeah, it was just those two parts. Okay, it was just those two parts, family. It was those two parts, but there's a possibility, and I think I highlighted something earlier, but nonetheless, it was stating how it's a possibility that undocumented immigrants could possibly have the right to bear arms. Now, some people have you that the violence in America has not risen. It has. Is one of the causes illegal immigration? It is. We understand that we're what, $34 trillion in debt. Do you believe that illegal immigration played a role in that? It has. But family, the points made here this evening, I really want you guys to think about it, because not everybody is going to agree with this. I know some people who are just so liberal, so democratic, so pro-immigrant. I got it. If people don't believe that America could sustain all these other countries out here, let me help you guys out one more time. So sometimes seeing is believing, is it not? Sometimes seeing is believing. Remember these countries? And family, these are the countries mostly in the Caribbean and Latin America. Most of these are in the Caribbean and Latin America. But 90% of these countries, a lot of people from these countries come through illegal immigration. Some of them come legal, okay? Some of them come legal, but a lot of them come through illegally, family. And these are just the Latin nations and Caribbean. Don't forget the African nations. They have Africans coming over here illegally. You have Asians coming over here illegally. So when someone told me that America's infrastructure can't be, or America cannot be overpopulated and its infrastructure will never strain, I'm like, what? Do you think that America built this infrastructure for this country to have 500 million people? I want you to think about all your local municipalities, all your water filtration system, your water systems, your sewage facilities, all your facilities for all your resources that support your infrastructure. I want you to think about where you live, and I want you to think about how many people are already there. And America's roughly what, 350 million people, and then I want you to add another 150 million people on top of those resources, on top of that infrastructure, and then tell me that it won't have an effect. That's just asinine not to believe that an extra 150 million people, because if you include what, a third of all of these countries plus Asia, you have Indians coming over illegally, Chinese coming over illegally, Japanese coming over illegally. Now, they're not coming over here legally. Here's a question. If they're not coming over here legally, then what type of people are coming over? If you're flying all the way from Asia, if you're flying from Africa and you're coming over illegally, then what type of people are coming over illegally that can fly into the country? I mean, I just think about it so many different ways. Is this, you think that everybody that's coming over is an asylum seeker? You think that everyone that's flying over to Mexico trying to go through the southern border are upstanding citizens of society? I don't know the answers. I don't know the answers. I'm implying. I am. It's my black bias. It's my black bias. I thank everyone for joining me this evening. Extreme X, Jermaine Anderson, shout out goes to your brother, Michael Charles. Didn't have to be here running wild. Facts, Iron Wheel, FBA reparations. Nice to see you, brother. We got Oregon Bro, Beach Material, Muscle Pain, our good old Coon Master, Solid Snake, Dan Ditso. Nice to see everybody here. What the people are saying? What the people are saying? Give me a second, family. We make it what it is, period. They steal our styles, but we can't replicate the vibe. That's something, yeah, that's a good point you make up, because I know you guys been watching a lot of Instagram, TikTok, of all the Asian guys over there doing their hair like black guys, like dreads, cornrows, plaits, fades on the side, like the way we do mohawks. I mean, yeah, and that's why I keep telling people, we'll say that, black culture is American culture. I keep telling y'all, American culture is black. That's what I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you guys. And from a business perspective, a lot of people never go back in history and look at, from a business perspective, how black people used to dress. Have you noticed, and I've said this before, when I first saw the decline of the dignity of the black community, you know where I saw it? It was one particular music video. It was the 2 Live Crew. It was a 2 Live Crew. And I don't know if it was Tootsie Roll or something. I forgot the name of the song. That was the first sign, in my opinion, for me, of the declining of the black community and ratchetness to come in. And then research, studying, reading, talking to people, I realized the 2 Live Crew, Uncle Luke, not a foundational black American. And then when you look at some of the debauchery, when you look at some of the things, yeah, there's some black Americans doing it. You start listening to some of the rappers, some of the people who are saying certain things that perpetuate this new culture that they're labeling as Black American. Family, let me tell you, no, I hate to say it, This is the truth. Not all, trigger warning, not all, but a lot of this behavior that people that look like us is coming over from Africa and it's coming from the Caribbean. It's coming from Jamaica. It's coming from Nigeria. Oh yeah, I'm saying it, family. And this is not to be divisive. It's coming from the Dominican Republic. Oh yeah, family. It's not to be divisive. I'm just telling you the truth. I want you to think it's coming from Senegal. Ain't that right, Akon? Ain't that right, Akon? He was very disrespectful. He was talking about the difference between Black Americans and gave the perception that Black Americans who perform are all high up on drugs and can barely stand. I guess he never went to some of the concerts I went to. I saw Kevin Gates in concert. I don't agree with everything, but he gave a great concert, jumped around. He wasn't high for drugs. Was he talking about him? I mean, was he talking about him? I went to a Joey Badass concert. He wasn't high up on drugs and stumbling around. Was he talking about him? Akon, was you talking about them? I never seen it from Method Man. I never seen it from Jay-Z. I mean, I just want to know, are you talking about them when he says those things? And this is just a disrespect I'm referring to, family. And again, this is not all. This is not covering everybody. I'm just pointing out a couple of things here. I mean, when we really think about it, we all we got. We're not trying to be divisive. We're focusing on us. We're trying to do better for us. People don't like when we're trying to do better. Why is that? Why is there so much envy, pain, jealousy, whatever you want to call it? Why do we have so much? Because we're trying to reclaim our lineage, because we're trying to reclaim our heritage, because we're trying to be proudful, because we're getting on code, because we're fighting for our reparations, which is owed, which we're not trying to participate in this white supremacy system of the lesser of two evil. They're both evil. Cut it out. If you can pay everybody else reparations and ignore us, then damn with you. Then damn with you. That goes for foundational Black Americans who are not on code. Damn with you. Just shut up. I mean, here's my thing. If somebody trying to get the bag, you always got haters. Let them try to get the bag. Why are we not doing that? Why we can't just let them try to get the bag? And if we get the bag, you get the bag. If we get the bag, you get the bag. Even if you disagree. And I get it. Freedom of speech. You can say what you want. I got it. But you could be working against your own self-interest. It's kind of like January 6th. All these foundational Black Americans were against reparations. These over here were for reparations. All of them are getting reparations. Since you guys was against it, we saved billions of dollars. Thank you very much. I wonder if they thought about that. Thank you very much. All the foundational Black Americans who were fighting for reparations, who wanted reparations, who would sit on the sideline for reparations. Here you go. Here's your millions and billions of dollars. For all of the foundational Black Americans who did not want reparation, who was against reparations, have a good day. Have a good day. Those who were Black Americans and stated that, oh, the other people are just ghetto and they just want to be lazy and they don't want to do nothing for themselves and build nothing for themselves. Have a good day. Have a good day. Because if anybody knew about foundational Black Americans, those who know that reparations is owed, you should see some of the professions that they are in. You should see their business acumen, their professions. They think that the only one talking about reparations are broke people. Boy, I tell you. I tell you. Let's see. I'm taking so much issue with the gringos who have never migrated, who have no idea what they're saying. A Latin American who lives in 33 out of 35 nations in the Western Hemisphere. Sounder Dog states, quit voting Democrat. You have been used and now being discarded for a bright new shiny object called an illegal immigrant. Good point. Very good point. I'll pop them up here, family. Think of the word so that without the T, that's how you say it. I agree with everything you're saying. I appreciate that. B1, shalom to people in the chat. FBA family built this country. We don't know what you were babbling about. Solid Snake says, not against reparations, just seeing bigger fish to fry. Hey, leave it up to Solid Snake to give you a good laugh. Family, that guy's a fool. He said, not against reparations, got bigger fish to fry. I don't know what fish he frying. Reparations is the beginning and the end, the first and the last, the alpha and omega when it comes for foundational Black Americans in this country. And I don't mean in a godly sense. I mean in a sense of what the government owes, so people don't get bent all out of shape. So people don't get bent out of shape. I see my brother in here, Mitchell Liggins. Nice to see you, brother. A lot of good people in the room today. But family, that's all I have for you today. I just really wanted to drive this narrative that we have to continue to teach people who we are. We have to continue to teach people what we have done, where we have been, and what we are doing. Do we have to do it? Absolutely not. But I just like the look on their face when they found out what Black Americans have done in this country. Sometimes I just like the look on their face. We don't have to prove anything to anyone. But every now and again, it's okay to teach them who you are. Teach them your lineage. Tell them that you are a survivor, that you are a warrior, that you are an intellect. How so? Where do you get your power? Where do you get your energy? From my ancestors, from my lineage, from my heritage, from my history, from my present, and for my future. That's where I get it from. That's where I get it from. That's where I get my energy. That's where I get my energy, family. Again, I have to thank everybody for joining me here this evening. And I see you guys on the next one.